And I'll do the whole like, okay, hello everyone. My name is Angie. I'm the program manager of the Business Center Guelph-Wellington. For those who are watching this later, we have not done Facebook Live for this session purely because the internet is doing weird stuff and nobody wants to be jumping in and out of Facebook Live. So today we are introducing Heather. I will pass it on to you, Heather. I gave you screen share. I'll be here to monitor any chats or stuff, but with a small enough group, if anybody wants to shout out, you're more than welcome to. So excellent. Heather, I'll let you go.
Excellent. Actually, just as I start, thank you, Angela, and I'm going to attach in the chat a file called Making Your Messages Magical Workbook, and we can send it out by email as well for anyone who had registered. But it's a PDF, so if you wanted to download it, and if it shows up, it might, there it is.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, excellent. So you can use that as your tool as we're working through this. So hello, I'm Heather, and I really want to make this a really productive, hands-on, creative workshop for you. So you're really coming out feeling like you can apply it to your business immediately. Because I'm just sort of that person where I understand the value of as a solopreneur myself, and I've been doing this for 11 years. We don't have a lot of time to waste, right? So we want to make sure it's super practical. So I'm just going to share the presentation here. And if at all, if anyone has questions, please feel free to raise your hand. We're not making this super formal. And I'm here to answer any questions at all. So just trying to find my presentation now, because everything has gone a little upside down for me. There we go. Okay, so while we're waiting, does anyone want to put into the chat your name, your business, and just generally how you would describe what it is that you do? So very briefly, you know, your name, your business name, and what you're doing. If you're new to business, that's okay. Just let us know as well, and maybe the idea you're having for a business. So any, if you can put that into the chat, then we can start from there. So welcome to the Making Your Messages Magical, the creative workshop. Many of you might know me from Blossoming Heart, but this year I've started an initiative with called Worded Simply Communications. And I'll explain a little bit more about that, but it's just to merge some of my knowledge and my experience to be able to be of service to kind solopreneurs and micropreneurs. So a quick part, a bit about me. I have a BCom honors marketing degree from the University of Guelph. I was a round peg in a square hole. I do not match with corporate marketing. I am way more of an entrepreneur at heart. I love what I learned, but I would honestly say that as an entrepreneur, it didn't entirely apply to my path. So I've had to do a lot of my own learning and applying in my own service-based business as a solopreneur over the last 11 years, and kind of take with me what works and what doesn't work in the corporate model. I'm also a published writer. I've done professional editing, also worked for human rights and arts organizations, and it's as an administrator and communications coordinator. So the truest heart of things, this is why I love doing this work, is that I believe business can actually be kind, fun, and creative. That it doesn't have to be serious and stodgy and we all have to wear suits. So that's my approach. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I'm assuming I'm preaching to the converted. So I'm just going to check in the chat to see. Excellent. Hi, Taylor. So you started your own business, creative studio. Awesome business brand identity and offers social media marketing services. Fantastic. So you understand the value of all of this. And love working with other entrepreneurs to craft their brand identity through strategy and visuals. Excellent, and thank you. Yes, please include your website or any links. So if anyone wants to connect or follow with you, please do. Fabulous. So you know what, Taylor, you may even have more knowledge than me. I'm basing this also on my own experiences. So I would love to hear your input, if anything, if you have tips to add as well. So thank you. I'm going to try and get into this because there's going to be a lot to cover. and I don't want to overwhelm you. So those are the two sites. We were Worded Simply Communications. You can find out more about me. I'm literally just starting Worded Simply, so please don't judge me based on that one. But you can absolutely judge me based on Blossoming Heart Guidance. So that one's inner growth coaching, loving all of you. And you can find out more information there. So today's goal, we're going to create or brainstorm your core marketing messages. And so we're going to start with identifying your brand personality. We're going to learn about the differences between your mission statement, your tagline, and your core marketing messages. And we're going to draft these statements. And just being aware that this is a brainstorming time for some of you who haven't even done this, or you're wanting to revamp. So you may come out of it like going, oh my gosh, my brain is hurting. But we're just really getting a chance to get the words on the page and then literally sleep on it. And then it might all gel tomorrow. So we're just going to work with your muscle memory, brain memory, and we're going to see what's going to come out of it. And you do not have to be an artist or creative person to do this. You know your business well enough to know how you want to convey yourself. So just a quick, why bother? Why should we even do these core messages? It's sort of an obvious nowadays, we know the value of this through social media, but just even to remind ourselves that this is a great exercise. When I was starting my business, I was just kind of throwing stuff into the mix. I wasn't really, I was just serving clients and trying to get going. And I didn't really take the time to actually really root down into, what do I stand for? How am I sending that out to the world? I was just sort of making stuff up. So as I've come to understand, and I love writing and I love editing and I love messages, but it really does solidify your business when you can clarify this. So it helps you to connect clearly with your target customers. It gives you consistent branding, which allows for trust and dependability. And it helps you to create easy content. Like if you have those core messages, you already sort of naturally know where your messaging needs to go in your content, whether it's blogs or video content, but it's almost like it just makes everything so much easier. You've got the root of it. It also lets your customers, community, and staff know about you quickly and easily. They can go, yep, that's me. No, that's not me, right? Or, yep, I see what the value is, and this is what matters in the business. And it helps you stay focused on the heart of your business. So welcome, Sebastian came in and somebody else came in, and just hello. If you wanted to put into the chat your name, your business name, generally what you do, any links, and then we can get to know you. As well, if you're new to business, then, if you're having a business idea, so there's no pressure to have to share if you're feeling that this is a new experience. Thank you. So let's have some fun, because I don't believe business has to be stodgy. So there's a workbook attached that I put into the chat room. If you do want to open it, it's a PDF file. It'll give you a guideline. There's a section there for us to take some time. So this is really about you finding your own answers. So I'm just going to encourage you. We're just going to give you a couple of minutes. Let me just look at the timing. So we'll give you even 5 minutes, because this is an important piece. It solidifies everything else. I want you to write out in a paragraph, and it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be polished. What do you do? Who do you serve? Why do you do it? And why should people buy from you? So just really taking that time, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I'll just put myself on mute so I'm not interrupting you. One more minute. Just start wrapping it up. And again, you can always come back to this tomorrow and keep expanding and pulling this out, right? But I would say this is the core and the heart of every other messaging, right? It's who you serve, what you do, why is it valuable, without getting into too much jargon or lingo and businessy stuff. But it's really just like plain straight up, why should they buy from you? And how are you serving them? So, just paying attention to this, we'll keep referring back to this paragraph. Does anyone have questions about this exercise or comments, or are you now going, oh my God, I'm still confused. I'm really confused. Like, is that helpful? Just quick, if you could put into the chat if there's any questions or comments about just doing this. I'm going to keep going, and then we'll see, and we'll come back to this too if we need to. So this is, and I'm so sorry, who is it? Taylor mentioning this about brand identity and brand personality. So there's a whole science behind this, and it's way complicated. Like, you can take probably a whole degree on branding and personality. And my goodness, all the level of research I've done with my own business, I feel like I could teach a whole course on branding. However, I would just one simple, I would, especially if you're a solopreneur, especially if you're service based, you're the brand ultimately. So you don't want it to be so disconnected, like your brand is so disconnected from who you are as a person. At the same time, you want to make sure that your brand is showing up in a way that speaks to your ideal client and the actual, widget that you're selling or the service you're selling. So you might be a feisty accountant, right? But some people might be like, well, I'm not sure if I want a feisty accountant, so you'd have to figure out, who are you called to serve? What is your brand? It has its own personality that is going to know, like, trust, sell your service or your product. But at the same time, you don't want to be so different than you that people show up and go, oh my gosh, I thought this person was like super professional and they're actually like wearing shorts while they're doing accounting, so you want to make sure you can be yourself while at the same time meeting your clients' needs. And it really, this is the core of where then, if you have your personality, then you can find the languaging and the wording and everything else from here. So it may not be obvious to you, but I first want to start with, who are you and what's your personality? How would people describe you? And how would you describe yourself? So, for some, I'm more casual, obviously. I literally showed up in business school in Calgary, University of Calgary, for a year. Everyone else was wearing suits, ties, and all this stuff. And I showed up with my sweatshirt and my jeans and my backpack. And I'm casual when it comes to how I relate with business, and I'm not your typical business person. But that can actually work in my favor when I'm dealing with solopreneurs and micro businesses that also are like, I'm doing it for love. Now, how do I make money? Right? So you really want to not try to make yourself wrong for who you are, and just get really honest, right? And you want to pick out, of those parts of you, that's your personality and your personal traits, what are the traits that you feel that your ideal customer would be like, oh my gosh, I would love to work with this person. Like, I really like that this person is diligent, or I really like that this person is fun, or I really like that this person is, it matches. I think I saw in somebody has a gift for aunts and mothers, right? So you could have the they're the playful aunts and grandmas. Sorry, the aunts and grandmas, right? Like you could have a playful aspect of tiny gifts, or really meaningful, right? Like they're really sincere and they want to show their love. So, what aspect of your personality matches with your product service business? Okay, so just if you can make some notes there of some traits. And I'll give you a little cheat sheet that is very basic in the branding world, but it's helpful for a starting point. There's some 5 core brand personality types. Now you can go into archetypes and all of this, but there's 5 here. You can make little combinations of them, but I would encourage when you start to pick one for now. So if there's a part where you're like, yeah, I have a mix of carefreeness and I have youthfulness, and at the same time, I'm actually sort of have this rugged quality, really take a look at what would match your offering, your service that you feel your ideal customers would want of you, and it also matches you. So for example, with Blossoming Heart, I'm way more about sincerity, right? It needs to be kind, it needs to be thoughtful, it needs to be caring. I was trying to go into more funky, and I realized actually that's not matching my brand. That's not actually matching what I'm doing, right? I wanted to do more like I was trying to mix the playfulness with the sincerity. But when I'm dealing with worded simply, some might say, oh, you should be showing your competence because that's a successful business person. But in truth, I'm more of a playful, excited, I find business exciting and fun, and all of this, it needs to be way more carefree because my ideal customers are probably going into business because of their joy and their passion and their pleasure. And that they're like, wow, you don't make me feel like I'm stupid, and you're going to help me do business. So really sit with, what could be one of these for now that you feel, yeah, this kind of matches me and could match my business. And please post it in the chat. Oh, and Sebastian, you could. So I would say just for now to start with one. But eventually, as you keep morphing and merging, like I don't want to put you away from that creative energy, right? So if you're feeling, if you give me an example, actually, Sebastian, if you can unmute and then just even give me some thoughts about what you're thinking of.
Yeah, so I was thinking of potentially combining sincere with competence. So having a watch brand that emphasizes mental health, you want to demonstrate kindness, thoughtfulness, caring, and relatability as the sincere core component. But I feel like it's also important to emphasize confidence because you want to give people almost that inspiration as part of your messaging as well, that, and even like kind of share personal stories as well, and hearing other people's success stories I feel like would be important to kind of combine the two, I guess. So I would love to kind of hear what you think about that.
And sorry, did you say it's a watch brand?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so it's like a watch that helps with mental health tracking?
Well, it's just like a watch brand for fashion, and we donate $10 from every sale to the Canadian Mental Health Association, which are our partners. So a lot of our key messaging is kind of focused towards kind of mental health and positive messaging, as well as kind of showcasing what our partners at the CMHA are doing to kind of benefit mental health, and showing our customers kind of where their funding is going as well.
Yep, that's awesome. Okay, great. So I would say the core one is sincere, right? It's the thoughtfulness, the caring, and all of this. And what you would be doing, so that would be the personality that you're presenting. But even in every kind of content, that's when your content building would show up to say, we're professional, we have expertise. Like you would show your, so it'd be very different if sometimes competence is shown by like we give facts and there's more of a logic aspect. And showing like, we've accomplished these things, right? Like we've sold X number of watches and all of this. So that could come into more of your content pieces if you needed to highlight that, but your
Okay.
actual personality or brand would be more of that caring, we can relate with you. You're not so distant that you're the expert,
Mm,
that you're actually being like actually very connected and you care about the community. And then you can bring in like in your content pieces, look, we've sold this many watches, we've raised this much money, and we've helped this many people. And so your personality would come with your languaging and your voice and your tone of voice and some of the images you would use. Whereas
okay.
your competence would be more, like there would be more of that corporate kind of feeling.
Mm, okay.
Usually, so, and that feeling, whatever we describe as leadership, like that can come in many forms. But
Mm,
I would say you are doing leadership, but it would be more from that heart-centered, sincere place.
okay. Thank you.
If that makes sense. Okay. Great. Good question. So has everyone picked a person that doesn't make sense? Is what somebody's still struggling with that, or? And I don't know if I can't for some reason see my chat room. All right, sorry. So somebody's probably, so Angela, if somebody's mentioning a chat or they're mentioning a question.
Nope, no, there is no new chats. It's just
Okay.
discussion.
Awesome. So now, so in your workbook, you've identified your brand personality. You've written out your kind of what you do, what you're about, what makes you special in many ways. Mission statement, a lot of people confuse it with the vision statement. I've grappled with it. You're constantly probably going to change it as you grow your business or your initiative. But I even like calling it my purpose, right? So my purpose statement of essentially like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? It's not connected to necessarily your service or your offering, but it's your core purpose, your core values. It's usually action-based. So you usually have like a verb in it, or so it feels like it's actually happening in the now, whereas a vision statement is who you want to grow into, what do you care about, like bigger than your business, what's the biggest vision. So, for example, with Blossoming Heart, like my vision statement is like creating a kinder world, one heart at a time, right? So it's like whether I'm going to actually do that, like, I have no delusions that I will never be able to create, but I'll create it within my own personal power, but that's my vision for the world. So you really want to sort of match, like, what is the core essence of what you're doing? And you don't want to use buzzwords or jargon. You really want to bring it, grounded into what is actually going on. And it's something you can share on your website. Usually you share it on your website, to your staff, like people see that, they put it up on their walls. It's the main motivator of the core of why you do what you do. So it's really your deepest why is how I would describe it. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples because I struggle with this too. Example number one for Tesla. We've all heard of Tesla, I'm sure. So they don't talk about cars in here, right? They say to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. So they connect to the who, which is the transitioning world, and many of us are aware of these changes in energy. So what is sustainable? They're in the business of sustainable energy, and it happens to be cars, right? So it really gives, and they like this action piece of to accelerate, which is really great, this concept of cars, right? And so it matches what they do, it matches what they're about, but they're not specifically saying cars. Sorry if I'm zoning out here, or the Zoom is. So if you can't hear me, just let me know if I need to repeat. So what's cool about this is it keeps it open to inspiring options beyond cars, right? So, even using the part with working with your nervous system, Lisa, it's like, you don't necessarily, it could be about calmness, right? Or bringing people to balance or helping people. It can really, reduce anxiety. So you want to think about, what business ultimately are you in? And what is it that you're really, really doing, right? At the core level, not the specifics, not the actual service. I'll give you another example. I'll just use mine, the Blossoming Heart. So Blossoming Heart guidance, growing hearts from the roots up. So who am I connecting to? Heart-centered people, people who care about being heart-centered. And what are they doing? They're digging deep, which is one of my big value propositions. Dig deep into your roots as a path to personal growth. And the action is growing. And what's interesting about it's like a gardener, right? It matches blossoming hearts like a flower. I'm gardening them, but it's really the person doing the work. So I'm just literally helping them grow. It also leaves it open to other approaches that is not just coaching, right? I can do this as a speaker. I can do this as a workshop facilitator. I can do this with my journal prompt. So it doesn't tie me into the actual issue or the actual service that I'm offering. So clear as mud, and it's going to take some creativity to nail this, but I'm also going to give you some time. Let's just see here with it. So to create your mission and purpose statement in your workbook, just start brainstorming. I'm going to give you time to brainstorm some ideas and sentences, and use your step 1 paragraph as inspiration and fuel for this. And then just to create a sentence or two. So usually you don't want it to be more than 100 words. You don't want it to be usually maximum 3 sentences, but usually it's 1 sentence. And it includes an action verb. You feel inspired by it, gets to the heart of what you do, keeps you open to possibilities, and it matches your brand personality. So, you know, for mine, I wanted to do one, Get Your Mojo Back, but it didn't really match being really just sincere and caring. It felt more playful, right? So for mine, it's like, okay, I like the idea, but it doesn't match my brand personality.
So in the comments, I have Sarah Rose said she crafted a draft mission statement a week ago. And would love some feedback. It's building a resilient future by supporting innovation across rural and agricultural organizations.
I like it. It sounds a little bit jargony with the lingo of the industry. So I want to see if you can bring it down to the heart of, you know, why is that important to you? Like, why is agriculture important to you? What does it really do for the world? Like, is it feeding the world? Is it helping farmers? Like, you want to start identifying, really going into, so instead of trying to think of business lingo and making it sound succinct, just keep asking yourself, why do I care about this? Why do I care about this? So, you know, I'm going to encourage you with this mission statement, Sarah, to just ask yourself, when you look at this, why do I care about this? And then again, ask yourself, after you write out, why do I care about this? Ask that again. And we're going to start getting into the heart of really what's your purpose in this. Does that make sense? It's an ongoing journry. So I'm not going to say you did it wrong at all.
No,
it definitely matches.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I've built these many times before, and it's always about, you find you do them and they're like 2 sentences, and then they're like a sentence, and then they're, how can I get this down to like 6 words? It's all I want is 6 words. And it's constant, and you will revisit this over and over. You'll be maybe in the same industry for 20 years, and you will find that you redraft your mission statement 1,000 times. And it says roughly the same thing every time, but you're still gonna keep redoing it. Yeah.
Totally. And Sarah, if you're willing to be the guinea pig in this, because I love that you shared, you know, this piece, I would just try to invite you to start honing it down into, like, I want to hear the passion and the inspiration that's connected to it, and really, you know, who are you doing this for, or why is this important to you? And see if you can hone this down and come back to us. I'm going to give everyone another 5 minutes to work on this, because that's not even enough. Like, you're going to have brainstorms after this and everything, but I'm just going to encourage everyone. We're going to get 5 minutes to do this. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not a lawyer. It doesn't need to sound like a lawyer's writing.
Exactly. And when you deal with agriculture, it's like, it's down to earth. It's, you know, why do we love farmers, right? I'm just going to move the screen over as well to the previous slide. What if I can? Hold on. It's not letting me. Nope, never mind. Sorry. I'm going to give you for inspiration. Sorry, I forgot an N on your last name, on your name there, Sebastian. Awesome. Yes, please. So if you wanted to put down, if you want to put in here what's coming up for you, your mission statement, and then we can just do a quick review, right? So please do in your chat, if you are ready, you're done, you've created something, please post it. Yes, I do see the messages. Oh, sorry. I don't, oh, let me check yours, Lisa. I see the chat here. I don't see your message, Lisa, but I do see Sarah's and Sebastian. Oh, there we
Okay,
go. Sorry.
so
Sorry,
cultivating
Lisa.
a feeling of safety for
Mm,
Lisa.
yeah. Okay. So let's start there. I love this, Lisa, even more than explaining everything that you do. Just feel how does that make you feel, right? Writing that, if you want to unmute yourself, but even just writing that, what does that do for you?
Hey, Heather, thank you. I was actually saying, asking if you saw Sebastian's, because you did just say he did put his mission statement in there.
Okay.
It's kind of a few up.
Yeah.
But I do, so the word safety, with the nervous system work, clearly we're moving toward building a toolbox of regulation practices that are supportive for that individual person from tracking sensation. And we're coming into a place of calm, peace, tranquility, like that down regulation. And I think the core of all of that is safety. Like we talk about, does this specific body-based practice bring you closer to a feeling of safety? So that's, so in my work, we track the sensations that each individual exploration offers. It's not just a one size fits all. Here's a bunch of exercises you can do to help to regulate your nervous system. We go in and I work with individual people about individual practices to see how their specific body responds. So, and we're always talking about in that safety scale I use, is your body coming to a feeling closer to a feeling of safety. So even though that was the kind of the very, like I did like several sentences, I'm like, okay, it's about a feeling of safety. So that really does come to the core of the work. And I think when I think of safety, okay, then I can feel calm. Then I can feel all the other really nice stuff just comes into play already. So if I'm safe, well, then I'm calm. And if I'm safe, and then I'm at peace. If I'm safe, I can, put my guard down. I can relax. I can look at the time, right?
Totally.
I feel safe enough to look around.
And I would say it connects to your ultimate ideal client, because anyone who wants to do nervous system work probably has gone through either trauma or they've been high stress and all of this, like PTSD, like all of this, like person who's going to invest that money, right? So I love this part, the feeling of safety, right? So some people are in the business of safety for like seatbelts, right?
Yes.
But the feeling of safety, everyone can relate with, especially as we come out of COVID, especially as we come out of crazy times, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to just ask you about cultivating, the word cultivating. I love it because I love the gardening aspect of it. Just to double check, does that match the work you do?
Yeah, because so I think with the nervous system work, we use titration. So we have to take it really, really slowly. And then it's a building up of that safety of that, okay, I can put my guard down even further now. So it's a gathering. It's not all, it's like a 3 to 4 month program, right? It's not going to happen after one session. They'll get a hint of, oh yeah, that makes me feel really good. Okay, I'm gonna practice that external focusing for the next 3 months or my whole life. And so as you build that, you build capacity. And so your capacity for safety actually even builds. So you're cultivating all of that. You're nourishing, you're watering the garden, you're practicing. So yes, I think, and that again, that was like my last, oh my God, so cultivating does make sense for me. It's not, here you go, Now you're gonna feel safe. We have to
It's not one
cultivate,
session.
right? We have to really nourish that and make sure that that particular exercise really works for you and your nervous system. So always checking in again. Are you feeling closer to safety or just neutral? Just neutral is still okay.
Still
As
good.
long
You
as
feel
it, if
safe.
right, but if you're activated by that, well, then let's not do that anymore. So we have to cultivate our connection to our own body, be able to feel that, because a lot of people who are frozen have no connection to their physical body. They're not embodied. You would know that. So yes, cultivation is a key word. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's coming together. Yeah, it's coming together.
So Lisa, I love it. Like the feeling, like it's also connecting the who, which is somebody who feels unsafe, right?
Yes.
So and I just want to and emphasizing this for other people listening to this too. So that this is your mission statement, right? So this is the core of everything you're going to do for your ideal client. That includes the space you rent. It includes the messages you give. It includes the way they're going to experience your brand when they come in the door. So this is the heart of every single decision you make, right? And that's going to attract your ideal client because they're like, I want that.
Yeah.
And they know that they're in. It's not just a one-off session. It's like, we're going to cultivate this.
Yes.
So it determines every other business decision, from your, the kind of paper you use to the images you use to everything else. That's going to be the core of your business. Very good.
Thank you.
I love it. This is great.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to go down to, I saw Sebastian's as well. I'm going to go to
good.
Sarah's as well. So we're going to go to Sarah and Sebastian. So Sebastian, I saw improving mental health resources and well-being with every ticking second. I love the every ticking second, right? Because it matches the watch, it matches I think you're so close here. So improving mental health, there's something about the community, because resources, I'm not sure if it's resources. So if you can share a little bit more, Sebastian, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so mental health resources are obviously a big facet of what the CMHA provides, and a lot of our contributions to them help develop or improve the resources that they offer. And we want to improve mental health resources, so increasing funding to them, have more resources available for people that need them in particular. And then with the well-being part, so well-being can be, yeah.
Sebastian, because I just have a breath. This is how I work. So sorry.
Yeah, of course.
How does this land? Because I want to make it more emotionally moving, but improving access to mental wellness with every ticking second.
I like it a lot. Yes.
Okay.
Let me.
So less organizational jargon and more so improving access to mental wellness, because that's the outcome. That's what people want. Because mental health can also have there's so much stigma, even if it's connected to CMHA, but there can be so much stuff. And then I love this part with every ticking second, the watch, but also the piece around like I can make a difference just like every second of the day, right?
Yes,
like whether it's protecting my mental health, helping somebody with their mental health, contributing money to mental health, like this is and how it also creates a sense of almost urgency, like we're in mental health crises, so it's like we all are aware, like we need this now, right?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels great. I don't think I could do a better job, so I feel like you kind of really narrowed it down for me, so yes, thank you. I know that it felt like a little segmented, but I didn't know how to kind of bridge that, so I think that's a really good way to bridge it. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. This is so good. All right. So Sarah, I love, you're almost there, Sarah. Empowering farmers to grow. I also want to take in the part about sustainability. We want to include something about, so it could be empowering sustainable farmers to grow. So I'm going to go is to contribute to the viability of a robust, diverse. So this is important, right? Like we want to include something. It's almost like I want to say, if you can unmute yourself, Sarah. I'm going to ask you why. Can you unmute or are you messaging Nicola? Okay, next session. Awesome. Sorry, I can't hear you, Sarah. So I don't know if is Sarah still on the call?
Yeah, Sarah's still on the call.
Okay,
Sarah,
awesome.
I just don't see that she's unmuting. So, oh, there she
Okay.
goes.
Okay.
Sure.
Awesome.
Okay. I guess I can talk. Sorry, I'm just kind of, I wasn't expecting this to be quite so interactive. So now I'm sitting at my desk, but I wasn't prepared. So I'm really enjoying this. I think that one of my challenges is that I'm still a bit of a generalist. I have tons of experience outside of ag and food, and that's where I did a lot of my consulting, back a few years ago. But this is my passion. I think that this is probably where, my greatest potential to grow is. One of my other concerns is that even though I do have an environmental prerogative, I think you have to be really careful with that language, especially with some of the producers that I'll be working for. And because I think that, like, I worked for Environment Hamilton for a few years, and there was a lot of skepticism about what my motives were among the agricultural community. So it's balancing that, even though my interests are, and farmers' interests certainly are, to protect the environment and to grow sustainably as well. There's just there's trust issues, and that's why, like, that's my value proposition. So empowering farmers to grow sustainably, I think, would work. I just have to be careful with the language. So, because they can, like, there's this whole fertilizer policy that's coming down the pipes, and it can raise some alarm bells, especially in the regulatory environment right now. So I for sure need to be careful with those words.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to your original, like the first paragraph of like why you do what you do, what's your unique value, like why would they want to hire you?
Because I grew up on a farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know who they are. They can trust me. Like, my interests are the same as their interests. Like, I want to see them do well. I'm not working for the tech companies. I'm not working for the seed companies. I'm working for the people who actually grow the food.
Okay. Yeah. All right, awesome. So, Sarah, I'm going to say empowering farmers to grow sounds a little bit like corporate government.
Yep. Yep.
I want you to get into the, like, what would a farmer say that they want, they need, what's their language, because that's your greatest strength, because you're a freaking farmer, right? So, and I don't know that world as well. I've worked on an organic farm, but you really want to start making that mission statement where if they read it, they're like, she gets me.
Yeah,
like,
I really appreciate that. That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Like being your.
That's gonna take some work, but yeah, that's
right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because they tend to mistrust the government resources and the corporate.
Yeah, right? And they speak a different language too. And I'm not working with the niche organic farmers necessarily. I mean, I have experience in that world, but we're conventional farmers, and I think that there's a lot of potential to change, and in that broader industries, and those are the people that I'm going after for sure. So, and they like me, so I might as well work with them.
Yeah, so even like creating healthier farms. Like, you don't even have to talk about sustainable, but it might be healthier farms, because there's all this toxic, the talks about pesticides and it's affecting farmers' health. Like, so there could be something about helping you grow healthier farms or something like that. Where
without I don't want to make too many assumptions or suggest that what they're doing is wrong necessarily, because I think that there's a lot of really good stuff that happens within that industry as well. But there is an opportunity to change, and there's regulatory pressure to change, and I want to help them do that. So.
Okay, I hate to cut you off, but we have 5 minutes, and we're running right into the next program. So those of you who are just joining us, I know you're coming in for our next session, because we're going one right into the next. So just hold on, but I'll let Heather. I know we only have a few minutes. If you want to start wrapping up,
and
then
Sarah,
we can.
Please.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody can connect with Heather afterwards. I can also provide you with some links and resources for that as well. And Heather, if you'd like, we can always run a second session later on in November, and I'll send it to all the wonderful people who are here who might want to continue going. Not a problem. Excellent. I know the difference of the 1 hour session. Sometimes Seem
Totally.
really tight.
I don't want to pack it all in. So thank you, Sarah. Please send me an email and we can do more massaging of that. So I just want to go into your tagline piece, just give you a little taste of this quickly, but it's pretty much your punchline and it goes with your logo. So it needs to sort of match your logo, and it's really just an inspirational, it inspires your target customers, and it matches your mission, it matches your core values, and there's usually an emotional connection to it. So again, it doesn't necessarily, it's not going to convey what you do, but it connects to the person. So just some examples here are Coffee House Press, it's a publishing house where good books are brewing, right? It matches their name of their business and it matches what they do. Wounded Warrior Project, it's for soldiers and vets. The greatest casualty is being forgotten, right? So you can already get a sense of like what they do without even them explaining it, right? Travelocity, they offer cheaper, like access to cheaper travel. Like wander wisely, like why don't be the fool wandering, like you might as well save money. And so you go, wow, I can tell that what they do, right? So that's going to be in your brainstorming section of your workbook. I'm just asking yourself, does it convey your value? Does it match your brand personality? And is it what your target market is seeking, right? So if your target market is seeking luxury travel, you're not going to talk about discounted travel, right? So you want to make sure you're always focusing on your ideal client. And again, back to Sarah's thing is like, does it match? Like, am I speaking farmer language, right? So I'm going to do another section on this another time with your marketing message, but it's also in your workbook. You can, and I'm happy to send my slides out. So if you want to take a look at this, but there's some great examples here of a marketing message that this is the thing you would use in your core content. So it would be in your advertising, it would be in, it really connects to your ideal customer, it speaks to them about every aspect of it, solves their pain point, it gives you, they say Nike is the solution, and it expresses your fundamental philosophy or belief. So this one, again, requires a ton of work. You can have many marketing messages depending on your campaign, but try to find the one that would really match the core of your business, right? Would be the example of this. Sorry, I'm rushing through this. So you can write out, do this as your own homework. Please share it with, you can't do it in the branding anymore in the post, but please share it with your closest circle of friends, bounce these ideas off of people, but people who are connected to your ideal community. So Sarah's not going to go to her government friends or her, all of this. She's going to go to the farmer friends and say, what do you think, right? And you want to get the feedback from them. So remember, your messages can change over time. Sleep on it, avoid jargon. The brainstorming process requires patience, and share it with people in your circle, see how it lands, and then apply it. So thank you. Quick, how is that for you? And we'll end here. Thank you, Angela.
No, not a problem. And for those of you who want to stick around for the next session, that is fine as well. But thank you, Heather, for joining us. Very informative. And to all those in the session, I will be sending out the recording so you can review it as well, and any resources that Heather sends me. So you'll get that in the next couple of days. So no stress there. What I'll do is connect with Heather and we can schedule another time for you can do even more brainstorming. But I think it's a great resource, and I think everybody got something out of this, which is wonderful. I love it whenever we get something that we can take home that's actionable. So with that there, I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you again, Heather. Thank you for all those who attended.
Thank you.